Lesson 19. What's the right mix for your portfolio? In this lesson, Bill O'Neill discusses how to achieve the portfolio focus you need to produce big gains. How should you spread your risk among different stocks?
Most people in the investment business will tell you to widely diversify and to asset allocate, that is, spread your money among many types of investments in varying percentages. But you should go against this conventional wisdom, even if it makes you a little uncomfortable at first. Copying what everybody is saying and doing in the stock market may feel reassuring, but it will not be the most rewarding. Your goal is not just to be right in the market, but to make substantial money when you are right. This is best done by concentrating your eggs in fewer baskets, knowing them well, and watching them carefully.
Aren't there any merits to asset allocation?
I believe in asset allocation, simple, basic allocation. Put part of your money in the best common stocks available and part in money market funds when stocks are not doing so well. Too much diversification or allocation can lead to lack of knowledge and focus about your investments. If someone says you should have 45% in stocks, 30% in bonds, 10% in foreign stocks, 10% in money market funds, and 5% in gold, this to me is misallocation. While it might be safer, it will likely reduce your overall percentage return. Maybe you shouldn't be in any bonds, foreign stocks, or gold because they will hold back your total return. Fortunes were lost in bonds during the Depression, and bonds are also a relatively poor inflation hedge.
So how many stocks should you own?
After setting aside whatever cash reserve you want for future emergencies, if you have $5,000 or less to invest, you should own no more than 2 stocks. If you have $10,000, 2 or 3 stocks is appropriate. With $25,000, perhaps 3 to 4, with $50,000, 4 to 5, and with $100,000, you should own 5 to 6. There is no reason to own 20 or more stocks. You simply cannot know all you need to know about that many stocks, and it is not necessary in order to achieve great success.
What if you see other stocks you like?
At the outset, you need to decide how many stocks you'll own and then do not exceed that limit. If your limit is 6 stocks and you own 6, don't buy a 7th, 8th, or 9th stock, even though the temptation is there. If a new stock is so great, force yourself to sell the least attractive of your 6 stocks to get money for the new name. You'll earn more by following this kind of discipline.
Is there a right way to build a concentrated portfolio?
Let's make this simple to follow. If you were to invest $100,000 in 5 stocks, that would be $20,000 in each stock. You aren't trying to buy a certain number of shares of a stock, but rather a specific and similar dollar amount each time. But stagger your buying over time. Never buy all 5 stocks at once. Take it one step at a time and let your stocks prove themselves by showing at least some progress before you get 100% invested.
Is there a strategy to buying individual stocks?
Buy only half of your $20,000 position, $10,000, in one stock as your initial buy. If the stock goes down in price, don't buy any more. If it goes down 8% from your buy price, sell all of the stock at once to cut your loss. But if the stock moves up 2 to 3% in price from your initial buy point, and if it still looks like it's acting well, you might follow up and buy $6,500 more. At this point, you'd have $16,500 of your $20,000 intended position in the stock. If the stock advances 2 to 3% more, you may complete your $20,000 position by buying another $3,500, then stop buying that stock. You've got your basic position in the stock during its first 5% advance. Sit back and give it some time and room to grow. This concept of adding to your initial purchase in smaller quantities up to 5% from your initial buy point as the price moves up is called pyramiding. Average up, not down. Never add money unless your prior buys seem to be working.
What else should you do when buying and managing the stocks in a portfolio?
You should use charts to help time your purchases more precisely. Don't chase stocks that are extended in price well beyond a sound base area. See lessons 9, 10, and 11 on base patterns. If your first buy falls 8% below your purchase price and you sell to cut your loss, You'll be taking a little insurance policy to protect yourself. You could easily suffer a much larger loss later if you do nothing. This 8% sell rule does not apply to stocks where you are ahead and show a large profit. At this point, you can afford to be a bit more flexible. Of course, the stocks you buy must meet all the fundamental measurements we discussed early in this book. They should be the #1 company in their field. Earnings per share should be up in each of the last 3 years, and sales and earnings should be up a significant percentage for a number of quarters. Look for improving profit margins, return on equity of 17% or higher, and a relative price strength rating of 80% or higher. The stock should be in a leading industry group and have quality institutional sponsorship.
What should you do once you own a few stocks?
After you own 3 or 4 stocks, you must learn to carefully observe and calculate which one is making the most headway percentage-wise. That is probably your best stock and a real market leader. So you wait for a proper time to add again to your leader. You could add perhaps the first time the stock pulls back to the 50-day moving average line of its price. Moving average lines on a chart smooth out the choppy daily or weekly trading activity and give you a clearer indication of the price trend. Or you could add to your position if the stock forms a whole new base of 7 or 8 weeks or more and is about to break out of this new second stage base. What I'm saying here is that the way to manage your portfolio effectively is to learn to recognize which stocks are actually performing best. Then try to have more of your money in those stocks and have a little less in the ones that don't act as well. You also want to have more, perhaps up to 75% of your money, in the top 5 or 6 sectors on Investors Business Daily's 52-week highs and lows feature, a new highs list. As your skill at selecting top-quality market leaders improves, the day will come when you'll land upon the next Microsoft. You'll know how to have more money invested in it and make it your #1 position. It is even more crucial to buy leading growth stocks if you are investing on margin or if you pyramid. You absolutely must realize your risk is materially increased and that you have to apply your selling rules in order to protect yourself when things go bad. But if you pyramid up, you never want to get excited and carried away and buy more shares at a higher price than you bought on your first or second purchase. This raises your average cost too high, and you'll become vulnerable in the next sharp sell-off.
Once you find those real leaders, what's next?
To manage a portfolio right, you need a set of buying rules and a set of selling rules. It's one thing to buy a market leader, but it's a whole other issue to know exactly how to hang on to it, add to it at the right time, and finally sell it and get out when the stock is topping and ready for a long slide downhill. Under this method, you might own your better performing stocks for a year or 2. The lesser ones will be sold off sooner when they show signs of not working or starting to lag substantially. You aren't going to be right on all of your selections, and you don't have to be. But when you make a mistake, you need to always recognize it, own up to it, and act. And when you have a big market leader, you need to know how to handle it so you capitalize on the stock properly and avoid shakeouts.
But isn't stock selection the hard part?
Many people have owned a Microsoft, Cisco Systems, or Home Depot in the past, but were shaken out on some bad news or in a general market correction. To avoid this, you should develop rules on how to properly handle a true leader once you finally find it. In addition to this book, if you want to brush up on the rules for when to hold and when to sell, you may want to read Chapter 10 in How to Make Money in Stocks. This whole process of investing correctly is really a matter of reading as well as studying and learning from your actual market decisions. You can always get better and smarter.
If you like the video, please click the like button below and subscribe the channel. Summary 1. Why diversification and asset allocation are not necessary. Concentrate your eggs in fewer baskets, know them well, and watch them carefully. 2. If you have less than $5,000 to invest, only own 1 or 2 stocks. If you have $10,000, 2 or 3 stocks, $25,000, 3 to 4 stocks, $50,000, 4 to 5, and $100,000, own no more than 6 stocks. 3. If you already own the maximum number of stocks but want to add a new stock to your portfolio, force yourself to sell the least profitable stock to get money for the new name. 4. When purchasing a stock, only buy half of your desired position at the initial buy point. Buy a small amount more if the price rises 2 to 3% above your first buy. Average up in price, never down.